Joining us, Democratic Congressman Keith Ellison of Minnesota. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, how are you? Pleased to be on today.
Thank you, sir. We talk about the ability of corporate and union money to corrupt politics because of Citizens United. But when you look at the super PAC disclosures, isn't it just individual millionaires and billionaires who are literally shaping the GOP race?
Without a doubt. I mean, outside money since 2008 has jumped 1,600%. I mean, it's amazing how much these folks with these high net worth individuals are just telling people what they ought to believe and have the wherewithal to put it all in front of us.
And because of the amount that they're giving, I guess there's a commensurate amount of influence on these candidates. Is that correct?
Well, of course, they're not giving that money just to be charitable. They're giving it for influence. They're giving it for the purpose of influencing the dialogue. I mean, look at Newt Gingrich. He just got $5 million from one high net worth gambling magnate. And got another $5 million from that magnate's wife. I mean, do you think that gentleman is doing that just because he likes Newt so much? No, it is because he has a particular economic and worldview that he expects Newt to push. And I think he will not be disappointed by Newt.
Yes, you're referring there to Sheldon Adelson. Over the last 2 quarters, Mitt's super PAC has gotten a total of $4 million from 2 obscure companies that share the same Provo, Utah address. I mean, isn't disclosure also as big a problem? You talk about Sheldon Adelson, but half of these people, we don't even know who they are.
Yeah, I guess you can say that for Mr. Ellison. At least we know he's the one giving the money.
Exactly.
But at least in many cases, we have no idea who's doing it. That's why we've got to pass a law to disclose. And I challenge, Congress, the body I serve in, to pass a law where these givers are required to disclose their identity, where they get their money from, and so people can make an honest assessment of what their message really means and who it really serves.
When you talk about the message, sir, it's an interesting statistic. In Florida, there were 13,000 negative ads run by Mitt Romney, 200 by Gingrich. Guess who won?
Well, it's really no surprise, but I think we got to get corporate money out of politics altogether. I got a constitutional amendment I'm proposing that says that corporations are not people, money is not speech, and that Congress can regulate corporate speech. Right now, Citizens United is promising to be the foremost damaging thing to our democracy. We need a movement to get a constitutional amendment to say no to it all.
Politico is now reporting super PACs representing Mitt Romney and Rick Santorum have purchased more than $120,000 in airtime in Minneapolis. What are your feelings as these ads start in your district? And is this what the Founding Fathers meant by representative government?
I think the Founding Fathers would be turning over in their graves to think that the plutocrats and the very rich are having this much influence on our democracy. I think it's not the idea that we had. This has nothing to do with we the people, which are the first 3 words of our Constitution. This is not anything that any Democrat, small d, would have in mind, Republican or in the Democratic Party. It's a sham, and I think that people are going to rise up. That's why we need this constitutional amendment, and you can go to keithellison.org to check it out.
I have done that, Mr. Ellison. Why, though, is there no broad political will to fix this? Because getting anything in this Congress is virtually impossible.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you, Chris Van Hollen has a bill called the Disclose Act. We need to pass it. I think this is a bipartisan issue. I think people who identify Republican, Democrat, and Independent want to know where the money is coming from. If you poll on this issue, the American people want to know who's spending money to influence them in a presidential election. So it is somewhat of a surprise that Congress is not moving. Maybe that's a symptom of the problem that, maybe some of us are disproportionately influenced by the big money as opposed to the will of the people.
I think, sir, that is the view of many of us. Congressman Keith Ellison, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.